Have you ever felt that burning, tingling, or numb sensation in your feet, especially at night? If you're over 60, you're not alone, and more importantly, you're not without options. Hello, I'm Dr. Zoe Patterson, and today I'm going to show you 6 simple, safe exercises that can help relieve neuropathy in your feet and legs, right from the comfort of your home. No complicated routines, no expensive equipment, just gentle movements that can make a real difference in how you feel every day. Let's walk through the 4 key principles behind these exercises, and then I'll guide you through all 6. Your body is incredibly resilient, no matter your age. Every small step you take today is an investment in your comfort tomorrow. You deserve to walk without pain, to sleep peacefully, and to feel steady on your feet again. Remember, it's never too late to improve your health. Your future self will thank you for starting today. When we talk about neuropathy, one of the most important things to understand is what's happening beneath the surface, and a big part of that comes down to circulation. As we get older, blood flow naturally slows down a bit. So that's just part of the aging process. But when circulation becomes too limited, especially in the feet and lower legs, the nerves don't receive enough oxygen and nutrients to function properly. And when nerves are undernourished, that's when you start to feel those uncomfortable sensations: tingling, burning, numbness, or even sharp pains. Think of your bloodstream as a delivery system. Every second, it's carrying oxygen, vitamins, and essential nutrients to every part of your body, including those tiny nerve endings in your feet. But if that delivery system slows down or becomes inefficient, those nerves are left waiting. And over time, they begin to struggle. That's when symptoms of neuropathy can become more noticeable, more frequent, and sometimes more intense. Now, here's the encouraging part: even gentle movement can help improve this process. You don't need intense workouts or long exercise sessions. In fact, for many people over 60, simple controlled movements are not only safer but more effective. When you move your feet and legs, even in small ways, you're essentially helping your body push that blood back up through your system. It's like turning on a pump that's been sitting idle. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you're sitting in a chair watching television. If your feet are completely still for long periods of time, circulation can slow even further. But the moment you start pointing your toes forward and then gently pulling them back toward you, something changes. The muscles in your calves begin to contract and relax, and that action helps push blood through your veins. It's subtle, but it's powerful. And the beauty of this is that it doesn't require extra time out of your day. You can do these movements while sitting, reading, or even talking on the phone. It's about turning everyday moments into opportunities to support your health. Another important thing to understand is that circulation and nerve health are deeply connected. Healthy blood flow doesn't just reduce symptoms, it actually supports the healing environment your nerves need. While we can't always reverse neuropathy completely, we can absolutely improve how our body responds to it. Better circulation often means reduced discomfort, improved sensation, and a greater sense of control over your movements. Now, you might be wondering how much movement is enough? And the answer is simpler than you think. It's not about doing a lot all at once. It's about doing a little consistently. Even a few minutes, several times a day, can begin to make a difference. What matters most is that you keep the blood flowing regularly instead of allowing long periods of stillness to take over. There's also something else worth mentioning here. Movement doesn't just help physically, it can also give you confidence. When neuropathy symptoms flare up, it's natural to feel cautious, even hesitant to move too much. But gentle exercises can actually help you reconnect with your body in a safe way. You start to feel more stable, more aware, and more in control. And that confidence can make a big difference in your daily life. It's also helpful to pay attention to how your body responds. As you begin incorporating these small movements, you may notice subtle changes. Maybe your feet feel a little warmer, maybe the tingling becomes less intense, or perhaps you simply feel more comfortable standing or walking. These are all signs that your circulation is improving and that your efforts are paying off. Now, I want to be very clear about one thing. This is not about pushing yourself to the point of discomfort. In fact, quite the opposite. The goal here is to work with your body, not against it. Gentle, steady, and consistent. That's the approach that brings the best results over time. And don't underestimate the power of these small actions. It's easy to think that something so simple couldn't possibly make a real difference. But the truth is, your body responds to consistency more than intensity. Those small toe movements, those gentle ankle motions, they add up. Day by day, they help create an environment where your nerves are better supported and your symptoms are more manageable. Over time, these simple habits can become part of your routine, just like brushing your teeth or making your morning tea. And once they become a habit, you don't have to think about them as effort anymore. They simply become part of how you take care of yourself. So, as we move forward into the exercises, keep this in mind. Every small movement you make is a step toward better circulation, healthier nerves, and greater comfort in your daily life. And sometimes the smallest movements are the ones that create the biggest change. Now, once we begin improving circulation, there's another equally important piece of the puzzle that often gets overlooked, and that is how we gently wake up the nerves themselves. When neuropathy develops, the nerves in your feet and legs don't just lose nourishment, they also lose clarity and communication. Think of your nerves like a network of tiny messengers, constantly sending signals between your feet and your brain. Under normal conditions, these messages are clear and precise. You feel the ground beneath you, you sense temperature, and your balance adjusts automatically. But with neuropathy, those signals can become weak, delayed, or even confused. And that's why you might feel numbness one moment, then tingling or burning the next. It's not random, it's your nervous system struggling to interpret and send messages the way it used to. But here's something many people don't realize: nerves are not completely passive. They respond to stimulation. In fact, with the right kind of gentle, repeated movement, you can actually encourage those nerves to become more active and responsive again. Now, this doesn't happen overnight and it doesn't require anything aggressive. In fact, the key here is the opposite: slow, controlled, and intentional movement. Imagine trying to wake someone from a deep sleep. You wouldn't shake them abruptly. You gently nudge them, give them time to respond, and allow them to gradually become alert. That's exactly how we want to approach nerve stimulation. For example, when you slowly spread your toes apart and then relax them, you're doing more than just moving muscles. You're sending a signal through those tiny nerve pathways. At first, the response might feel weak, or you might barely feel anything at all. And that's okay. That doesn't mean it's not working. It simply means the nerves need time to reconnect and respond. The same idea applies when you roll your foot over a soft surface like a tennis ball. That gentle pressure stimulates the bottom of your foot, activating nerve endings that may have been quiet for a while. Over time, this kind of consistent stimulation can help improve how those nerves react. Now, one of the most important things to understand here is that slow movement is far more effective than fast movement. When you rush through exercises, your body relies more on momentum than awareness. But when you move slowly, your brain has time to process each sensation. That connection between your brain and your body is exactly what we're trying to strengthen. You might even notice that when you slow things down, you become more aware of your feet in general. You start to feel where the pressure is, how your weight shifts, and how your toes respond. That awareness is incredibly valuable, especially when neuropathy has made things feel dull or disconnected. There's also a confidence building aspect to this process. When your nerves aren't sending clear signals, it's easy to feel unsure about your footing. You may hesitate when walking or feel less stable than you used to. But as you begin to stimulate those nerves gently and consistently, something begins to change. You start to trust your movements again. And that trust matters. It affects how you walk, how you stand, and even how relaxed you feel throughout the day. Now, it's important to set the right expectations. Waking up the nerves doesn't mean you'll suddenly feel everything perfectly again. What it means is that you're improving communication little by little. Maybe the numbness becomes less intense, maybe the tingling feels more manageable, or perhaps your feet simply feel more present than they did before. These are meaningful improvements and they're worth paying attention to. Another thing to keep in mind is that consistency is what brings results. Just like learning any new skill, repetition plays a big role. Each time you perform these gentle movements, you're reinforcing those nerve pathways. You're reminding your body how to communicate more effectively. And even if progress feels slow at times, that doesn't mean it's not happening. The body often works quietly in the background, making adjustments that you may only notice after some time has passed. It's also helpful to approach this with patience and a sense of curiosity rather than frustration. Instead of thinking, why can't I feel this properly? Try shifting your mindset to, let me see what I can feel today. That small change in perspective can make the experience much more positive and encouraging. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about exercises, it's about reconnecting with your body. You're giving your nerves a reason to respond again. You're creating an environment where they can function more effectively. And most importantly, you're taking an active role in improving how you feel. So as you move through these exercises, remember to slow down, stay present, and allow your body the time it needs to respond. Because sometimes all your nerves need is a gentle reminder that it's time to wake up. As we continue building on what we've talked about, improving circulation and gently waking up the nerves, there's another essential piece that brings everything together, and that is strengthening the muscles that support your feet and legs. Now, this is where many people get the wrong idea. When they hear the word strength, they often think of heavy weights, intense workouts, or something that feels overwhelming or even unsafe. But that's not what we're talking about here. Especially when it comes to neuropathy, strength is not about intensity. It's about stability, support, and control. Your muscles play a quiet but powerful role in how your body functions every single day. They help you stand, walk, balance, and adjust to every step you take. And when those muscles become weaker, which can naturally happen with age or reduced activity, they place more strain on other parts of your body, including your nerves. Think of your muscles as a support system. When they're strong and active, they help absorb pressure and reduce the load placed directly on sensitive nerve endings. But when they're weak or underused, that pressure doesn't disappear, it simply shifts. And often it shifts right onto areas that are already vulnerable. That's why even gentle strengthening exercises can make such a meaningful difference. You're not just building muscle, you're creating a more supportive environment for your entire lower body. Let's take something as simple as standing up from a chair. It may seem like a basic movement, but it involves coordination between your feet, your legs, and your core muscles. When those muscles are strong and responsive, the movement feels smooth and steady. But when they're weaker, you might notice hesitation, imbalance, or the need to rely more heavily on your hands for support. Now imagine gradually improving that strength over time, not through strain or discomfort, but through small, consistent movements like gently lifting your heels, shifting your weight, or engaging your legs while seated. These movements may seem simple, but they activate key muscle groups that support your ankles, calves, and lower legs. And here's where it becomes especially important for neuropathy. Stronger muscles help stabilize your joints, which in turn reduces unnecessary pressure on your nerves. When your body is more stable, your movements become more controlled, and that control can significantly reduce discomfort. There's also a strong connection between muscle strength and balance. As we age, balance can become more of a concern, especially when nerve sensation is reduced. But strengthening the muscles in your feet and legs can help compensate for that loss of sensation. It gives your body another way to stay steady and secure. You might start to notice that you feel more confident standing for longer periods. Walking may feel a bit smoother. Even small things like turning around or stepping onto a different surface can begin to feel more manageable. And that sense of confidence is incredibly valuable because when you feel more stable, you're more likely to stay active. And staying active is one of the most important things you can do for your overall health. Now, I want to emphasize something that often gets overlooked. You don't need long sessions or complicated routines to build strength. In fact, with neuropathy, it's much more effective to focus on short, gentle, and consistent movements. For example, slowly raising your heels while holding onto a chair may not feel like much in the moment, but over time, that simple action strengthens your calf muscles and improves how your body supports itself. The same goes for seated movements where you gently lift your legs or engage your feet. These are small actions, but they send a clear message to your body: stay active, stay engaged, stay strong. Another important part of this process is control. It's not just about doing the movement, it's about how you do it. Moving slowly and with intention allows your muscles to engage properly. It also helps your brain stay connected to what your body is doing, which is especially important when nerve signals are not as clear as they once were. You may even find that these moments of controlled movement become a time to reconnect with your body. Instead of rushing through the day, you're taking a few minutes to focus on how your feet feel, how your legs respond, and how your body moves as a whole. And over time, that awareness can become just as important as the physical strength itself. It's also worth mentioning that building strength doesn't mean pushing through pain. Your body will always give you signals, and it's important to listen to them. Gentle effort is what we're aiming for, not strain, not discomfort. If something feels too challenging, it's perfectly okay to adjust, take a break, or move at a slower pace, because this is not a race, it's a process. And every small effort you make is contributing to something bigger. You're creating a foundation of strength that supports your mobility, your balance, and your overall comfort. You're giving your body the tools it needs to move more freely and with less strain. And perhaps most importantly, you're proving to yourself that even simple actions done consistently can lead to meaningful change. So, as you continue with these exercises, remember that strength doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what you can regularly and with intention. Because when your muscles begin to support you better, everything else starts to feel just a little bit easier. As we bring everything together, improving circulation, gently waking up the nerves, and strengthening the muscles, there's one final piece that truly determines whether these efforts make a lasting difference, and that is consistency. Now, this may sound simple, but it's often the hardest part for many people. Not because the exercises are difficult, but because life gets busy, routines get interrupted, and it's easy to think that missing a day here or there won't matter. But when it comes to your body, especially with something like neuropathy, consistency is what creates real noticeable change over time. It's important to understand that your body responds to patterns. When you move regularly, even in small ways, your body begins to adapt. Circulation improves more steadily, nerve signals become more responsive, and your muscles stay engaged. But when those movements are inconsistent, done one day and then skipped for several days, the body doesn't get the same opportunity to build on that progress. Think of it like watering a plant. If you give it a large amount of water once in a while but neglect it in between, it struggles to grow. But if you water it a little bit every day, it thrives. Your body works in a very similar way. It doesn't need intensity, it needs regular care. And here's something that might surprise you. Doing a small amount every day is far more effective than doing a lot once or twice a week. Even 5 to 10 minutes of gentle movement can be enough to keep your circulation active, your nerves engaged, and your muscles working. What matters most is that you're showing up for your body consistently. Now, let's talk about something else that often gets in the way: perfection. Many people feel that if they can't do the full routine exactly as planned, it's not worth doing at all. But that kind of thinking can hold you back more than anything else. There is no such thing as a perfect routine. Some days you may feel more energetic, and other days you may feel a bit tired or stiff. That's completely normal. The goal is not to perform perfectly every time. It's to keep going, even if that means doing a little less on certain days. Maybe one day you only do 2 or 3 of the exercises instead of all 6. That still counts. Maybe you take a few extra breaks or move at a slower pace. That's perfectly fine. What matters is that you're maintaining the habit of movement, because over time, that habit becomes something you don't have to think about. It becomes part of your daily rhythm. Another helpful way to stay consistent is to connect these exercises to things you already do each day. For example, you might do a few movements while watching television, after your morning tea, or before going to bed. When you attach these exercises to an existing routine, they become easier to remember and more natural to maintain. It's also important to be patient with your progress. The body doesn't always show immediate results, especially when it comes to nerve health. There may be days when you feel a difference and other days when things feel exactly the same. That doesn't mean your efforts aren't working. It simply means your body is adjusting in its own time. Consistency allows those small, often invisible changes to build up gradually. And then one day you may notice that something feels different, and maybe your feet feel a bit lighter. Maybe the tingling isn't as intense, or perhaps you realize that you're moving with a little more ease than before. These are the moments that remind you why consistency matters. There's also a deeper benefit to this process that goes beyond the physical. When you commit to taking care of your body regularly, you build a sense of trust with yourself. You begin to feel more in control of your health rather than feeling like your symptoms are controlling you. That sense of control can be incredibly empowering. It shifts your mindset from frustration to possibility. Instead of thinking, there's nothing I can do about this, you begin to think, and there are steps I can take, and I'm taking them. And that shift in perspective can make a meaningful difference in how you approach not just these exercises, but your overall well-being. It's also worth remembering that consistency doesn't mean rigidity. You can still be flexible in how you approach your routine. Some days you may feel like doing more and other days less. The key is to stay engaged in some way, even if it's just a few gentle movements, because every time you move, you're reinforcing the progress you've already made. And if you ever miss a day, there's no need to feel discouraged. You simply start again the next day. Progress is not lost because of one missed session. What matters is that you return to the routine and continue moving forward. Over time, these small, consistent efforts create something powerful. They support better circulation, improve nerve responsiveness, and strengthen the muscles that keep you stable and comfortable. But more than that, they become a form of daily care, a way of showing your body that it's worth the time and attention. So as you continue with these exercises, remember that you don't need to do everything perfectly and you don't need to do everything at once. You just need to keep showing up one day at a time, because in the end, it's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters consistently. If you found these exercises helpful, make them part of your daily routine and give your body the care it deserves. And if you want more simple, science-backed tips for healthy aging, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like and share it with a friend or loved one who might benefit. I'm Dr. Zoe Patterson, wishing you strength, comfort, and vibrant health. See you in the next video.